Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast for the technician that wants to get real. Follow along as we talk to industry professionals and address hot topics that we all face. Along the way, we'll learn tips and tricks. I'm your host, Trent Manning. Let's have some fun. This episode of Real Turf Techs on Golf Course Industries Superintendent Radio Network is presented by Foley Company, a strong supporter of equipment technicians and golf course maintenance departments everywhere. Foley Company offers a proven solution for above and below the turf for turf professionals everywhere. To learn more about Foley Company's line of reel grinders, bed knife grinders, and the Air 2 G2 family of products, or to find a distributor, visit www.foleyco.com. Foley, ready for play. Welcome to the Real Turf Techs podcast, episode 129. Today we're talking to Ron Deering, equipment manager at Rolling Green Country Club in Arlington Heights, Illinois. He has roughly 100 pieces of equipment. The fleet is primarily made up of Toro mowers and E-Z-Go lithium carts. He works out of a converted pole barn that's split in between a heated shop and cold storage. Let's talk to Ryan. Welcome, Ryan, to the Real Turf Techs podcast. Thanks for coming on. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us how you got into the turf industry.
Well, I kind of was groomed in the small engine repair shop from an early age. I was fortunate enough to officially work with my grandfather for 15 years in our family's small equipment shop. We got to work on anything between a hovercraft, golf cart, which was interesting, to a steamroller. We never knew what was coming in the door. Later on, when I was thinking about getting engaged to my now wife, I wanted to buy a ring, but I wanted to have it paid off before we got married. So I started working part-time for Home Depot, and in that time span, a position opened up for overnight freight, and they wanted me to take it, or especially this operations manager at the time. And I said, I really can't do it. I'm just looking to pay off a ring. In that short span, he said, what's your number? And I said, you're going to laugh at this, because I started there making $10 an hour. I'm like, if you want me to work for you full time, you got to meet my number. I also knew I needed to get some management skills, for that was third generation for my family's company. So usually the third generation, if you don't learn the tricks of the trade, the business doesn't do so well. So I took the job with Home Depot, worked there for 7 years, kept climbing the ladder, got to meet a lot of vendors, a lot of overnight people that would come do installs for the big box store. I still have a couple of those contacts these days, but I'm not at the store anymore, obviously. I'm now in the golf industry. They did a realignment with Home Depot, so they created a new position. I had a new manager over the top of me. I got the promotion while I was on vacation to Florida, and our ideas didn't quite align. And my father-in-law mentioned that his old golf course he worked at in the 80s was looking for a mechanic. He knew how mechanically inclined I was. But working for Home Depot, I'm not allowed to touch the machines. It was frustrating to watch a new hose get installed and leaf immediately, and I couldn't just grab a wrench off the shelf, tighten it right. I was equipment trainer there, a whole bunch of other things that you wouldn't think of, key carrier, whatever title, equipment trainer, just anything and everything to help out the store. But the job opened up. I applied for it, told the superintendent at the time, Shane Lohman, I'll get you my resume when I get back from town. He was cool with that. We interviewed. When he took me on a tour on the course, we're a mixed grass course. So we have POA, we have bat, we have blue mixed in our fairways. Not knowing much about the turf industries, I didn't realize how much I insulted them until later when I went and said, I really like the camouflage pattern of your fairway. So I'm going, at the time, I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I left thinking that the interview went well. He ended up passing on me for a different candidate. So I went, all right, I'm going to interview a couple other courses. Got to know a couple other salesmen in the area that I was introduced to. I mean, it didn't help that at the time I didn't know how to grind either. I had never done it because I had a rotary grinder at my shop, or I was grinding rotary blades because it was commercial instead of golf course equipment. He put me in touch with other courses that were looking for equipment managers at the time. I interviewed there. I ended up with a pair of offers, and then I got a phone call back from Rolling Green. And honestly, I liked the course. I liked the area. I liked the shop. It was well set up. So I ended up working the Rolling Green for Shane Lohman. We worked together for about a year. And then he transferred out to New York, an engineers club for invited. We got a new superintendent, Jeff Everson. Really enjoy working for him too. It's been a really, really great experience working in the golf course industry, meeting all these people.
That's awesome, man.
And then getting all this help. It's really, really welcoming community.
No, very, very cool. Yeah. So did you like to play golf, or what kind of drew you, other than your father-in-law mentioning the golf course was looking for a person?
Well, I've been turning wrenches for the 15 years of my grandfather in our shop. And like I said, I went to work for Home Depot and it was frustrating. It was a yearning thing. Like I missed being able to turn wrench, tightening that hydraulic hose or fixing that, repairing that machine, knowing I could do it. And then just getting that opportunity to come back. Some things happened while I was with Home Depot full time. And my family, my father had a stroke.
Sorry to hear that.
And then my grandfather, my mentor, passed away from cancer.
Yeah, sorry to hear that too.
We kind of shuttered half the business. So there really wasn't much to get back to. It's still around. My uncle still runs it, but it's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I want to open it up and grow it a little bit bigger. But it's kind of hard with some of the other shops opening up and expanding. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Would you ever thought that you would be working at a golf course?
My only experience golfing ever was actually with Home Depot at a couple different courses for some corporate outings where you're supposed to lift the big wigs and hang out. You really get to know people for 4 hours sitting in a golf cart. So it's very intimate experience. I've only golfed a handful of times.
That's okay. I'm not a golfer, and there's a lot of EMs that are not golfers, and that's okay.
I'll be honest, I haven't played my own course. I just haven't. At the end of the day, I'm like, all right, there's golfers out there. Members are happy. They're enjoy the greens. Good. I'm doing my job. I'm going to go home, hang out with my family.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like if you work in the restaurant industry, when you get off work and you go home, you probably don't want to cook, or you don't want to wait on somebody, or, whatever your job is. Yeah.
I've done my time. I'm good. I'm going to go do something else.
What's your least favorite part of the job?
Discovering breaks. When something
without
happened,
being told,
my crew guy didn't bring it to my attention, and I find it a couple weeks later where I could have addressed it earlier, right after it happened.
That could fall right into a pet peeve of mine too.
Right?
Yeah, when that happens, yeah.
Breaks happen. Let me know immediately. I don't get mad. I don't have the energy for it. But
no.
Next time we need the machine, if I don't know that part broke off in the middle of the field and it's sitting right there and I don't see it, what am I going to do the day we need it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
We don't know that we need to fix something that nobody tells us, because we don't have enough time to go around the shop and make sure everything starts and runs and all that stuff on a daily basis. Yeah.
I don't want to put a Band-Aid on a fix. I want to fix it right the first time.
Yes. Oh yeah. Very, very important. And I mean, we've talked about it here too before, I think, but yeah, finding the root cause of an issue, say a belt breaks on a piece of equipment. What caused the belt to break? Was the belt just wore out and old, or is their idler fully froze up? What really caused this belt to break? Right. Exactly. So finding that root cause and fixing it right. What's your favorite tool?
My favorite daily tool, I use them all the time. It was actually a gift from my wife. It was the first tool she ever bought me. It's a set of black Craftsman wrenches, those black oxide.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't flex. So when I'm working on bronze bushings, they don't slip, they don't strip it out, because that is probably one of the most annoying things to deal with, is when you're changing one of those fittings and it just slips and strips. I've had them almost 15 years, and they look like the day I got them except for the case. The case lost a couple, like maybe a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But they've made it to every shop I've ever worked at and every location. I always have in my toolbox.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And yeah, for the listeners or anybody that's new to the industry or things like that, and you want to buy tools, I would suggest invest in your money in the tools that you use all the time.
That
You
was
know
that
what I'm
was a good
saying?
piece of advice. Yeah, when I said start buying my own tools, if you know you're gonna need a tool for the job, it was something brought to my attention by, I don't know if you ever heard of Adam Savage, one of the Mythbusters. He
Oh,
had a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
saying. He would say, I would buy the cheapest tool I could to get the job done the first time. If that tool broke, I know I used it, so I bought the best tool I could, so it'll
Yeah,
last forever.
that's a really good way to look at it too. Because, and a lot of these tools have lifetime warranty and all that stuff, and that's
Right.
great. But, if you need the tool and it breaks, you still need the tool because it just broke on you. So the
Absolutely.
lifetime warranty isn't, is okay, but, I need it right now.
Right.
I don't need it to break ever. What do you do to relax or find your balance?
I go home, I cook. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's simple. We call it giant German pancakes in my house, but we can throw all sorts of different fruits. It's real simple. It's a cup of flour, 6 eggs, half a stick of butter, and a cup of milk. You mix it all together. There you go. Dinner's in the oven.
Okay.
Throw some
Awesome.
sausages in there. It's delicious. It's simple. It's something my 2 young kiddos can help me with.
Oh, that's cool too.
Like it's bonding time.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Family activity. Doing a little cooking. What's been your biggest challenge working at the golf course?
Understanding how my reel units affect the turf and what turf conditions I can control. Because I'm trying to get a consistent cut on the turf, but if the turf conditions aren't perfect, I'm going to get patterns that may look like it's, say, rippling or washboarding, some guys call it. And it could just be a little bit of separation because it hasn't aerated enough or it doesn't have enough stand or something.
Yeah. What do you think what's been your biggest challenge in cutting unit setup? Knowing what you don't know?
That's
type
always a
thing?
challenge. When I first started, it was not knowing anything about reel units and grinding or looking at my reel grinder, looking at my Foley, going, all right, this doesn't look right. It was jerky, traveling, and needed to have bearings replaced. So that was my first repair job out of the shop, was repair my reel grinder. But then getting it lined up for the first time and getting it all squared up, realizing that it's over 20 thousandths out of square.
Yeah.
The initial setup, and then the importance of keeping your rollers even and square.
Yeah. No, all that stuff super, super important. And it's, I don't know that everybody knows that in the industry, which might be sad. But I mean, that's one reason we got a podcast here and we got the WhatsApp community. And
oh yeah, it's been great watching or asking questions and then being able to help some other guys out with something I know.
Oh yeah. No, that's great.
Like I asked the question, and somebody will have the schematic out and look at this part number 34 and this description, and like that's what you're looking at. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Great resource for sure. What did you say your aftercut appearance thing was? Said washboarding?
It was when I started. I had 7,000-hour jigs, so they've had their mileage on. We had fairway unit. That's what I started with, and I was trying to give them a cut beautifully so the grass was smooth, and it just couldn't happen with those units. The frames were rusted. The rollers were a little thin. There's just things that were too worn on them. And we knew we had some new units coming. And, it's going to be this month if it's 2022. So there's still that back order of equipment. It wasn't until a year later we finally got our fairway units in February. So we dealt with those jigs for a year. But, I mean, I had techs coming in. I call him the Jacobson Master. Bob Keys came in to help me out. John McGuire and Buchanan came in to help me out. And he's like, these are cutting the best they can. But this is how
awesome.
you get set. I didn't have enough experience to say, go to Shane and go, hey, I don't these are as good as they're going to get. This is what we're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
float with until we get a different unit, or we can put a lot of money into them.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good stuff. What's the strangest thing you've seen at the golf course?
Well, it was a personal experience and it happened 2 weeks ago. I was a squirrel jumping in my lap.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, I was pulling up to our 9 green on the cart path. There's a little fence there. And there's a cart path. There's a rollout green. The assistant superintendent was cutting cups that day, so he rolled up. Andy steered the squirrel. The squirrel darted in front of me, went to go up the fence, didn't quite make it, and then springboard onto my lap, and all he's heard was, oh, and a squirrel flying out of my cart. So it was quite the experience. I think that has the strangest thing I've seen. I mean, I've seen equipment in the ponds, unfortunately, but that's just somebody not paying attention. Or just sliding sideways. We had a fully loaded sprayer going once.
Oh, wow.
Just slid sideways down the turf. You just watched him go, and it's all right. He didn't completely sink it.
Mm-hmm.
He kept the front 2 wheels up, but
Dang. Yeah, that's
it
terrible.
happens.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Do you have a mentor in the industry?
I got a lot. There's been a lot of people that helped me along the way. Joe Etten, when I first started, was the one that originally taught me how to grind reels. Then I had Chris Hyman explain to me the importance of relief grinding. And
Okay.
he's going into details with the rabbit hole and how far is too much, because you don't want to make it too thin because it'll fold over or you hit something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have too much contact, that kind of thing. I really hadn't been doing it up until that point. And then I started doing it, and I noticed a lot less wear, a lot less grabbing on the bed knife.
Okay.
Or where the
all right. So, yeah, let's talk about that, because I think that's really important and really good stuff. So, what did you decide, or what was your experience for how thick the land width should be? Just a ballpark.
For my greens mowers, I like it having a dime thickness.
Okay.
Just enough. I mean, we call them whirligigs up here. That if one inch two gets in there, it's not going to bend the edge. It's not too thin that if we do a light top dressing, it's not going to destroy the bed knives. I'm not going to have to grind right after that mow. I may get one more till the sand's up. For my key mowers and my fairway mowers, about a nickel.
Okay.
A little thicker, because I know the crews tries to pick up all the sticks, but they don't get all of them. And we got acorns, we got oaks along our fairways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they do catch some of that. You don't want to go too thin because it'll bend it over or it'll take a notch out. And then you could be leaving a streak of grass if it does it in enough fins.
Yeah, no, that's super good stuff. And yeah, so for the listeners, I take mine down to 1/16 of an inch. I'll get it down there, and it doesn't matter, greens, fairways, whatever. And I've been happy with that. So,
And
but
you also have a little bit different turf. You're cutting what kind of grass?
Well, yeah. So, for the most part, I cut warm season turf. So Bermuda grass, Zorja, down here in the south with a real mower. We got some fescue, but most of the time that's rotary. And then we do overseed our course with ryegrass, which is a winter annual grass. And so, and it's soft and supple and all those things. So not very abrasive on a real blade. And we're pretty debris free. I mean, I'm not going to say we don't have any sticks or limbs. We definitely got plenty of sweet gum balls. Hopefully with our course renovation, that will go away. But yeah, what was your experience going from I'm assuming not relief grinding to putting a good relief on? What did you see with the cut?
Cleaner cuts. It was more consistent on the turf. I didn't see any jam ups. If I was following the machine, I didn't see any slow down the real speed. We had an old 2653A we were doing an intercut with, and it didn't have a relief grind in it. But I could give it the cut paper clean. I felt it was a little stiff to turn over, and I took the motor off, checked the bearings, took the bed knife off. Everything spun free, but it could cut paper nice and clean. That was great. When I put a relief grind on after talking with Chris, And we set it out there the first time, and oh man, that grass was flying. If you go full speed, there was very little resistance to the turf. It's easier to maintain that edge.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of relief grinding, but there are a lot of naysayers out there. And leave us a comment, and we can talk about it.
Right.
It'll be a discussion. What would be your dream job or opportunity?
There's a couple big courses in the area. I'd like to have a couple of technicians that could teach what I've learned, so they don't have the struggles I did when I first started in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with a senior equipment manager over at a different country club. I would say he's my mentor in the industry now, because he's doing he did what I'm doing now. And he would say he wished he knew reels when he first started. He was kind of in the same boat when he first started in the industry. He didn't know reels. He could fix the hydraulics and do all the engine repairs. But that was something he wished he knew. But yeah, no, from what I understand, I didn't come from the automotive industry. This industry is very, very welcoming to newcomers and sharing ideas and what they've seen. But I guess my dream job, like there's Medina's open right now. Brian, I respect very much. I'm excited about that course and that opening. If I was to happen to land that job, that'd be very cool. But again, they're looking for someone that's been there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in 8 years it opens up again, or 5 years, and the tech moves on to do something else, or another course like Medina opens up. I mean, it's very cool. They got the President's Cup 2026 coming.
Oh yeah. That is cool. Super cool. Yeah, and Medina, it's awesome. I got to visit Brian up there a couple years ago, and it's something else. Special place.
Yeah, it is. He said it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
And like you said, who knows? I think opportunities present themselves from time to time, and things have a way of working out.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm in the golf industry now. I'm not doing what I was doing. So I've enjoyed my time in the industry.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're having a good experience with it. I don't know if that's the norm or not for newcomers. I think
there's bad days.
Well, of course, yeah.
I mean, it's just a day, man. Next day.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just meant, overall, it seems like you're having a good experience. Getting into the golf industry and learning some things where other people, I don't know if they're that lucky. It just kind of depends on all about where you're at.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the advice I can say is don't be afraid to ask the question.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they always say there's no such thing as a stupid question.
No.
If
you don't know.
Right. And that's the thing. I guarantee none of us, when we, had to grind a reel for the first time, knew how to grind a reel.
Right.
I mean, we all learn at some point or another. Yeah, and there's some of us who've been doing it a lot longer than others, but still, we all had to learn at one point. What technician would you like to work with for a day?
Either Brian or Jeff, my mentor, just to spend a day in the shop and see what they do. They keep the high quality cut they have and all those machines that they have bigger fleets than I do. Brian's got 54 holes. Jeff, course, just does a lot of stuff. So either one of those two, just another course in general, a technician might do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. Yeah.
And you go to any of these seminars, if I learned one thing, I call it a win.
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth the trip if you pick up one thing and not even just learning something, but meeting somebody and expanding your network and
right.
Who knows what knowing this person's going to lead to. Just like if you talk to Brian, who knows what could happen a year from now or 3 years from now or whatever. Yeah, so that's exciting for sure. What do you know now you wish you had known on day one?
What would I have liked to know on day one? Besides how to grind reels, how much importance you can put in the relief grinding, but that's a tough one. I wish it would have relief ground in the beginning. I didn't when I first started, but just after I started relief grinding, I noticed the benefits of it just not grabbing as much or binding, a little bit less stress in the hydraulic motor. What else?
So, yeah, I want to go into that a little bit more too. On your reel grinding, what would have been maybe the easiest way, and maybe not just necessarily for you, but what is the easiest way, in your opinion, for a technician to learn how to grind reels?
You can read a manual, but sometimes it can be hard to translate that. Having a guy show you, or having someone show you hands-on a couple of times and letting you do it hands off, and just checking the work afterwards to make sure it's correct. Just having that lifeline next to you, like mentoring you through the process a couple times. Because yeah, especially when you're relief grinding a 14 blade reel, it's a little tight. Got to be careful. But we won't go into that.
Well, no, I've had guys do it. I've done it before. I mean, it happens sometimes. I think, anybody that's ground a 14 or 15 bladed reel, they've probably done it. And a bunch of the old guys, if we would admit, we've probably done it on 11 blade reel, by accident. I mean, it can happen, It's all in your setup, and you're in a hurry, and you're just going, you're doing things.
You set it, you walk away, let it do its thing, and you just hear bang, and it's,
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't, I don't know, a couple years ago, I had a guy working for me in the shop, and he's like, I can't get this reel to cut. And I knew he had just grounded and relieved and, all that stuff. And I look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reel blade is at like a point like this, where it had been ground on both sides. And I was like, I think we're going to have to spin that one some more.
Right.
To get it to cut. Yeah, it don't work that way.
That was something I was told to do too. Do the front first and then relief grind was something I was recommended to me. I don't know if your process is the same, to do the relief grind second.
That's the way I do it. And I've been told by people, to relief first, then spin. And, I don't know. I like the idea of spinning first and getting the reel back to a true cylinder, and then putting the relief on it, and the relief being even all the way across. Because if the reel is not a true cylinder and I put a relief on it, and I have, more relief on one side and less on another, and then I have to spin it to put the edge on it, and then the relief's different, I don't know if that really affects anything, having a little bit different relief from leading to trailing, but
right.
I don't know. That's just my thought.
The story
process.
I was given when they were showing me.
Yeah.
Get ready for tips and tricks.
Well, let's do some tips and tricks.
Let's see I guess the latest tip I learned, if you have the opportunity to put an O-ring on, the string trick, where you start it, you put the string around, string it through the O-ring, you start it opposite, and you pull it through. Flip the O-ring on real smooth. I mean, it was a social media trick I saw, but it was simple. Like, why didn't I think of that before?
Yeah, I don't. So, explain that again. I'm not drawing a good mental picture on this.
Ooh. I wish I had to hear the demo for you. But you take a piece of twine, string, something. You have a groove, you got to put an O-ring in to seal something. But it keeps slipping out of your hand, getting frustrated. This, did it once the other day, and it worked beautifully, like first try. But you put the string in the groove, and you put it around the O-ring, or through the O-ring, and you start it, and you start pulling the string around and stretch the O-ring just enough to creep over the shaft you're putting the O-ring on.
Oh, okay.
And you pull it through, and when the string stretches taut, the O-ring will be in the groove where you set it.
Okay.
I was surprised how smooth it worked. The other one I learned, my wife sent it to me as a joke when I was going to National Golf Day. She said, don't forget how to tie a tie. Sure enough, that day too, Bill Meyer, the superintendent over at Heritage, was rooming with me, and he saw me struggling to tie a tie, and he's laughing. And I'm like, you know what? I got a video of my wife sent me about wrapping on the forearm and pulling it through and all that. I wonder if this will actually work. sure enough, it worked. It was, and he's looking at me, he's going, did you just do that? Yeah, it works, man. I mean, my tie's straight. It's all set. He's like, send me that video. So then at National Golf Day, he was sharing with a couple of the other guys there. I don't know how many guys actually used it, but I know that first day, I was so stressed out. I forgot how to tie, and I've been tying this since high school. So for all these sporting events and everything, we had this show, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's not something I wear every day. You don't want a tie when you're working around anything rotating.
Well, yeah.
As a joke, my wife sent it to me. She's like, don't forget, honey. And I'm like,
funny.
yes, dear.
She jinxed you. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, man, I think I failed like 10 times before I watched this video and actually did it around. It was funny. He's laughing. So I really don't know how many superintendents actually saw that video of me doing it, because I'm sure one or two could have been in the same boat for being at the Capitol the first time. And it was a cool experience, but just that moment, I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to dress up nice. I'm all suited up and I can't tie. What's going on here?
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, and that's great too, because this transitions us right into National Golf Day. So how did you get there? What was that story?
So I'm the MAGS technician liaison. Justin Prescott was it before, but he was focusing on some other stuff. So the position was open. I was a Melrose grant recipient. So I ended up going to the conference last year where I met everybody. I met Luke Sella. He's the director for a chapter. If I got the title wrong, I apologize, Luke. I asked, hey, is there anything you need help with? Let me know. And he followed up with, yeah, would you like to be our technician liaison? I'm like, what is that? Well, you come up with training ideas, you do this, you attend board meetings, you listen, and you give your opinion for what equipment managers need in the industry, or what they can help with, or give us a little insight of what you guys are looking for. A couple meetings later, National Golf Day came about, and they were looking for volunteers. Phelps superintendents went, our commercial advisor went, and then they were looking to send 4 guys. I went home, talked to my wife. I sent a text to Luke the next day, like, hey, if it's still open, I'd like to go. Yeah, sure, it'd be a great experience for you. So I ended up going. Mag sponsored me to go. GCSA wrote an article about it from Andrew Harlock. Yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to expect. I thought, oh, there's going to be a bunch of other equipment managers there. No, so
were you the only one?
I was the first and only one, apparently. Those guys are hilarious. If you look at the Jefferson Memorial picture, they pushed me to the front right next to Hava.
Oh, really?
I'm just to her left.
Yeah.
Right front and center. Yeah, it was. But when I got there and I sat with the meeting and listened to everybody talk about what to expect, they really prepared us well with what topics we could talk about, went over things. And then, I was told to tell more equipment managers you're welcome to come join up. The next day we had our meetings with the representatives and the senators. Those conversations weren't as stressful. It was more like having a conversation, 5 other people. Like, it was just having a conversation, discussion in the room, the importance of golf, turf grass research, all that. What I got to talk about was the FIT Act, where it opens up your health savings account to be used towards your greens fees, to do an ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure kind of thing.
Okay.
You can use your health savings account for that. That's what I got to speak on, because I'm not, compared to the amount of knowledge a director of agronomy, a golf course superintendent has concerning turf versus what I had mechanically, they know way more. So I would defer to them when those questions arrived. And then also at the same time, because I was the only equipment manager there, gathering after initial meeting, and Mishka from Melrose introduced me to a bunch of people there and was pulling me around, introduced me to people. It was a great time, but when I got back to my little group, one of the superintendents is like, what are you, the freaking unicorn? I got a 5-year-old daughter, so instead I was going to run with that. I knew a graphic designer. She designed me a logo and then shared with our WhatsApp group. And I don't know which one of them sent me 100 of them in sticker form.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
I got 100
so
of
cool.
these things. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
what you're going to hand them out the next time you go to show or National Golf Day,
Right.
or put a tweet out on Twitter and ask who wants one, and you can mail them out.
Start mailing them out.
Yeah, start mailing them out.
But I want to know who sent them to me because it was hilarious. It came anonymous, 100 of them.
I don't
My
know.
guess is Whitaker, but I don't know.
Yeah, him, Borsos. I could see either one of them doing it.
I'm keeping the logo. I put it on my business card. I mean,
That's
my
awesome,
daughter
though, man. Yeah,
it's a cool little logo. It's different. But yeah, that's the third day was the volunteer project. It was a lot of mulch moving around the Jefferson Memorial. At one point, I had Jeff White shoveling my wheelbarrows, and I didn't think everybody be working so hard. But I mean, we were bucket brigade, and I was bringing the wheelbarrow empty. He was filling one up. Like, he had one going. At one point, I think we had 3 wheelbarrows going, and he's just shoveling. I go to him, and I go, "Don't you have a little pole, man?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Couldn't you just go grab that Bobcat and start filling these?" And he starts laughing at that.
No, yeah. Well, I don't. Smarter, not harder, right?
One of my superintendents commandeered at Workman and ProGator to start moving mulch around to the more remote areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that was my idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he actually did it. I was like, oh, okay.
So superintendents are notorious for that. If an equipment manager or a mechanic or a technician comes up with an idea, the superintendents are pretty good about saying, nah, and then waiting a week, a month, maybe even a year, and saying, hey, let's do this. I'm like, that's the exact idea I had a year ago. No.
Right.
So as long as it's their idea, it's okay. And I've found out that it's okay. It doesn't always have to be our idea. We can just be okay with it.
So
'Cause it makes the job easier.
actually, my superintendent, Jeff's made this job pretty easy, straightforward. He knows we went through different size tines to see what we liked for aerification for our light top dressing. We ordered, I'm going to call it the cheap set, but just the ones that wear faster, just see if we like the size. And then we had a discussion and said, look, these are going to cost 3 times as much, but if we like the size, we're going to stick with it. Let's go with the Infinity tines that are going to last longer. We've gone through, I want to say 6 aerifications, 18 holes with the same 10 tines and very little wear. Like, we're very happy with the results. Instead of buying tines maybe every 2 aerifications for that same application, we're happy with the results. But like, I've heard the stories of superintendents taking the ideas and running with them month later, right? I've seen collaborate really well with Jeff. It helps that the assistant superintendent chimes in, says, yeah, that's not a bad idea. So it kind of helps the case.
Yeah.
But between those two, just listening to those two converse about chemicals and how what they want to use and what cocktail they want to use for the whatever turf we're treating, I passed the EMCP level 1 turfgrass test.
Congratulations.
98. Because of those two, I thought that was going to be the hardest one to pass, and because of those two and just listening to them go back and forth every day at lunchtime, I passed. I was very happy with it. I mean, I had my pesticide or my spray license, but still,
That's awesome.
I don't spend all that time with the chemicals as much as they do.
Well, they don't spend as much time with cutting units as you do.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's a trade-off.
So we all have our specialty, and we all work off of each other's strengths. Because me and you could sit down and talk relief angles and bed knife angles and attitude and all that, and they wouldn't even know what we were talking about.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's so I have hopefully Jeff Smith and Bradley Moxley, I believe, stopping by in January to do some discussions on that for JRM's lineup to discuss their tines and their reels and their angles and why they have them set in the book at 5 and 15 for this bed knife setup. And
Oh,
I got a
okay.
lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I brought that to the board to set up the training for, to find a course that'd be willing to accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to be, a lot of superintendents want to know that knowledge so they can actually have that conversation with their equipment manager in my area.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
just
And I
be
think it's
better
I think it's an
educated.
excellent idea, because I'm fortunate I can talk to my director of agronomy about these things on real setup, and he gets it. But I know there's a lot of guys out there and gals that don't get it, and I think they need to. And I appreciate Mike Rollins doing his cut line as king class, because it is bringing a lot of awareness to superintendents. Because there's
Right.
probably more superintendents in his class than equipment managers, or at least, 50-50. And yeah, I think it's super important for
It's
superintendents
been
to
brought
get
up a lot
educated.
in my area. They did see if we can get him up here to
Yeah,
do it,
yeah.
to perform his cut line.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Yeah, and let me know. I'm game too.
right.
I love coming to speak. Yes. Yep. I went 1st of September. I got to go down to Florida and hang out with those guys, and
Oh
just
man, I wish I could
a
make
really,
it to
really
some of
good time.
their things. Haas and the guys seem
Yeah,
to
yeah,
really have it going down there.
yeah.
Hope they're
Haas,
okay though.
I think they fared okay over on their side, but we'll see after Milton comes through, because I don't know. It looks pretty bad.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. It gets downgraded or something before it hits landfall. Yeah, I mean, any more challenges being a newer person in the industry?
I can see setting up priority tasks as being an issue. Like, how do you set your schedule up for a daily task, for what you got to check in the morning? Like, the way I have it set is greens, tees, fairways, rotaries, and then everything else. Just after they go back out, or after they come back in, I check them and then put them away. But what do you do when a machine comes in that broke down that they need for a task right now? Like, how do you get back to those other real machines or other machines?
Yeah, yeah. No, that it is tough, and I definitely think it's misconceiving probably for people that don't have a background in golf, because if you just walk through the shop, you would probably pick out a fairway mower or a rough mower and say that is the most important piece of equipment because it's the biggest and it's the most expensive. But that's not the case.
Not the case,
It's that it's that greens mower. That's the most important.
Whether it's a walker or a triplex, yeah.
Exactly right. And I'm sure a lot of people that's just getting into the industry would not think that on day one.
I guess I could say I wasn't one of those. Oh no, when I got hired, that was, this is your most important machine. Make sure this one's 100%.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, that's great that you get that guidance. But I know a lot of people just get thrown to the wolves, and
Right.
like, there's some tools, and this is your work area. Have fun.
That's the
See
other
you at
thing I've heard.
lunchtime.
I've heard horror stories of guys not having tools in their shop, or having to provide their own tools. I'm fortunate enough. I was provided impacts and stuff to work with, and sockets and everything. I have a pretty good supply. I mean, the brand we have here now is Ryobi. Just was that I got a Home Depot down the street. I'm comfortable with them. I mean, I came from Home Depot, but they're not bad tools. I don't use some of them every day. The batteries are all the same.
Any other challenges being a newer person to the industry that you can think of that might help young technicians out?
Building a routine, being able to. For us, we have a schedule. We mow greens every day, roll every day. We mow fairways Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We mow tees Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have the crew capacity and the machinery to do it. So if I had something break down in the afternoon for second task, I need to fix that. I know I still have to fix my greens mowers. I may have that buffer to check my tees and fairways the next day. I don't like doing that. I like getting everything done in one day, checking them out after they mow, and then I know I got all day Tuesday until the greens mowers come back in to work on any major project.
Right. Yeah.
Having the superintendent or the director of agronomy or director of golf operations setting that schedule and keeping it pretty consistent, I'm able to keep the machinery consistent or up at a higher level.
Yeah.
So then it's easy to schedule maintenance, your oil changes, your grindings and everything, knowing the machine's going to be down that day anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you hit a sprinkler head and you got a reel shatter. Okay. That's a little different. But for most preventative maintenance, you can schedule that if you have a routine set.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's good stuff.
And the other thing nice is because I'm 90% Toro, they offer what's called an MVP kit, but it's for 800 to 1,000 hours depending on the machine. Provides you your basic oil filters, hydraulic filters, all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a little cheaper to buy it that way, and then you got the basics covered for that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's been helpful, especially when you have a budget you got to work with.
It's been quite a few years since I've probably even thought about this, but when I was working with Jerry Pate, the Toro distributor down here, I remember some customers getting the MVP kits built into their equipment package because they knew they were going to keep the piece of equipment for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was. So they would get enough kits in the purchase of the package to cover them for the life of the equipment. And I thought
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea because most of the time our repair and maintenance budget, equipment repair and maintenance, is not growing at the rate it needs to with the increase in parts.
Yeah, you always got to watch that budget and that number at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So that's when I get a new piece of equipment, I buy that MVP kit immediately, just so I have the basics. So if a cable goes out, because that's not in there, I have the budget for it when I need it. It shouldn't go out within the first 100 hours or so.
Yeah, right.
It should wear that quick, but you're covered for basics maintenance.
Yep. You want to do some rapid fire?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. What's your favorite movie?
Let's do my favorite Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Oh, yes. We're on the same page.
Right?
Same page.
Oh, I mean, I once had a movie marathon scheduled for all the Die Hards. They get progressively worse, but they're the same formula every time. No, that's
Die Hard fan. That is awesome. Yes, I love it.
I enjoyed Talladega Nights or Step Brothers. Enjoy those guys.
Mm-hmm.
My wife can't stand that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, man.
What would be your last meal?
I'd have to say a nicely smoked pork butt.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I make a pretty good one with my smoker and pretty happy with it. The last one I made was some barbecue pork. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Awesome. What kind of smoke do you prefer?
I like the Applewood. Again, when I first did it, I messed it up completely. I got the dripping pan and the wood chips mixed up. I just steamed it. I'm like, why is this not cooking? Why is there no smoke? Went to a buddy's house and he was explaining how it works. Like I thought, this is easy. I can't mess this up. Yeah, I got them backwards. The wood chips didn't burn, nothing. Never got the temp. I'm like, this isn't my end. By dinner that night, learned my lesson next time. It was fantastic. But yeah.
I'm the same way. I don't know, I definitely do not like mesquite. I'm sorry for the Texas people that listen to the podcast. I do not like mesquite.
Right.
Smoke. It's just not my thing. But I'm a big fan of fruit wood. So if it's apple or pecan or something like that, that's where I want to be.
I'm not going to turn down something. I'll go mesquite smoked meat of some sort. But yeah, no, I like my apple wood or my pecan. Just a different flavor. Don't have a preference on barbecue sauce. There's a whole bunch of good ones out there.
Oh wow, yeah,
that can be a whole another worm or can of worms there.
That would actually be a whole nother podcast if we wanted to talk barbecue sauce.
Oh man,
what are you most proud of besides your family?
What am I most proud of? I took away the easy answer.
Yep.
Amount of people that have helped me out and then me being able to return the favor. I guess a lesson my grandfather taught me when we used to commercially plow snow before he passed away, before my dad had a stroke. I was finally allowed to join the family fleet full time. So I'm out in the snow. We have a blizzard, right? We're going around the turn. I'm on my own. I'm on a remote section in Inverness. I slide off because there's some black ice, and I fall into the ditch, and I'm stuck. And the rule is if you're the one that falls in, you're the one that's got to get the chain set up. You make the phone call, and you got to be out there waiting in the snow. So when the other guy can pull you out. I fell in a way that my grandfather was convinced at the time that the truck wouldn't be able to pull it out. I got extremely lucky. There was this guy in the skid steer coming down the road. He was doing some commercial property or some homeowner properties out there. He pulled me out. His name was Matt. I still have his phone number. I came out. I didn't really know what the protocol was. My grandfather showed up a little bit later after I got pulled out by him. And I was just thankful, like, dude, thanks for getting me out of there. My grandfather whipped out a $5 bill out of his wallet, handed it to him, go buy yourself a coffee. And we went on our ways to go finish the route. I get back to the shop the next day. We're working on machines, and we're sitting down at lunch. Like, Grandpa, why'd you hand him $5? He's goes, it's always nice to have another friend out there. Couple years later, I'm still plowing snow for my family. We're still going out there. And I see this truck go plow across where there's a little Y intersection. He's trying to get out of my way. And I see him, like, I honk my horn and everything is daylight, and I knew there's a ditch there. Truck drove right in the ditch trying to get out of my way so I could go down the Y. So I backed up, hooked up the chain and everything. Guy gets out of the truck. Turns out to be the same guy.
Oh, really? Wow.
4 years.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So Matt opens up his wallet, and should be in the back of my wallet. I don't know if I can dig it out. Got a whole bunch of stuff in there, but I still have that same $5 bill. He had the same one as well. It's like, I think this belongs to you.
No way. That is so cool.
I couldn't believe it. Like, what are the odds? The guy was trying to be a nice guy, just get out of my way. I mean, we were not going fast. It's another blizzard.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's super cool.
I got the $5 back from my grandfather. I went to give it to him. It's like, no, it's yours. You earned it.
Oh, wow.
But you tipped him $5 that one time. It's like, no, you earned it. You learned your lesson.
Yeah. That's cool.
I wish I could say I didn't get stuck another time, but.
Well, yeah, it's, it happens.
It got expensive.
Sure.
Though that one Super Bowl blizzard up here, I made quite a bit of money pulling people out of ditches in the neighborhoods. They're having some fun at halftime. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good time.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, man. Tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you. You on any of the socials?
I'm on the Equipment Managers Uncensored. I think Haas is the manager of that one.
Okay.
If you ever going to hold of me there, I got Facebook, I got Instagram, I have a Twitter. I think it still has my Home Depot. My thoughts are my own. I don't represent the company spiel on there still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our WhatsApp group, Geeking the Rubber, we always message me on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Or your WhatsApp group.
Well, no, I mean, it's our WhatsApp group.
It's been a great tool to have that
awesome.
Knowledge base.
I'm glad to hear it. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's been very helpful. Yeah, if you ever got a question you think I can help you, reach out like anybody.
Good deal, man. Thank you so much for being on, Ryan. Thoroughly
Thanks
enjoyed
for having me. I enjoy it.
Thank you so much for listening to the Real Turf Techs podcast. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any topics you would like to discuss or you'd like to be a guest, find us on Twitter at Real Turf Techs. See you, bye.